Hello, and welcome to a new episode of Ramblings from Two Meddling Kids. I'm Edward Hunt, one half of the duo, joined by my friend
Mike Cunningham.
and we are the Meddling Kids, and we like to review movies. So thank you so much for tuning in. If this is the first time you have checked us out, or if you want a quick review of the rules, we will always review a movie without spoilers first. We'll give you its 0 to 5 rating, and then, after you decide whether or not you want to go, we'll continue and give a play-by-play of the movie. So, again, first 5 minutes, 10 minutes, we won't spoil anything. Check out the movie, decide if you want to go, and we'll go from there. Mike, you ready to get started?
Yep.
All right, Polite Society. What'd you give it this week?
I gave it a 3.
Okay.
I think it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
It was different.
Mm-hmm.
I think the casting was amazing. The lead actress is definitely someone that you're going to have to look out for.
Yep.
She just, like, her energy, her charm.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked, actually, all 3 of the lead actresses. Not too familiar. I think one of them just because they were in, she was in The Umbrella Academy.
Yep. Yeah.
And the Red Notice movie with The Rock and Ryan Reynolds. But I don't know, the casting was great. I think the direction was, it was really good.
Mm-hmm.
It was like stylized, kind of like Scott Pilgrim.
Yep, Scott Pilgrim-esque. Yeah.
I really, like, especially like some of the fight choreography and the scenes. Very funny.
Mm-hmm.
I think without trying to be, it was just like these characters naturally played off of one another.
Yeah.
I think so it was just like the action was good. I think what made it a 3 was just the fact that I think the third act kind of fumbled the third act for me.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a very interesting take on the situation that the protagonist finds herself in, but I think they concluded it in a way that was very Hollywood and not realistic.
Yeah.
So which was kind of frustrating because it could have told a very compelling story and wrapped that up
Mm-hmm.
very interesting. In a way that was, couldn't have been expected. I think it went the expected route, which was kind of upsetting to me, at least. But other than that, I thought it was just really, really good.
Yeah.
A really, really good movie.
Cool.
So 3.
Cool. All right. For me personally, so it's hard for me to rate this movie because until, as Mike said, the third act, up until that point, I was thinking 3.5, 4 out of 5, which, that's very high. And so I was like really enjoying this. I'm liking it a lot. I'm seeing where this is going. It's great. And then the third act happened, and I'm not spoiling anything, but in my notes I just wrote boo. Yeah, I just wrote boo. Like once that happened, I was like, for me, they like invalidated everything that we've been building for and everything that I was loving about this movie and like really appreciating about it in this world. They basically, without spoiling anything, they just broke the rules of their world.
Yes.
Right? And Mike and I have talked about this a lot off camera, but just I love like whatever world you build in your movie or what's going on, build it, stick to those rules, love it. Please, for the love of God, don't build it, make it great, make me kind of love it, and then spit in my face at the end of it and decide everything's different. And I get that might be a little harsh, but that was literally how I felt. Like when the movie ended, I said fuck. I was like fuck. Because I didn't want it to end like that. I wanted it to end so much differently. So I was giving it 3.5, 4 for like literally 2/3 of that movie. And then at the end, I was very, very disappointed. So I don't really know what to rate it. So if I'm giving it like a 3.5, 4, but then I give like your ending like a 1, what do I give this now, right? So I guess 3. I guess 3. But know that it's a disappointed 3. I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed, and that's.
Well,
all.
I think that's the beauty of it too. Is like the beginning; those first 2 acts were so solid that it tarnished the movie in a way of storytelling or how a story should conclude, or we thought it was going to conclude. Not say should. I mean, the writer, director did, which he felt.
Well, how many movies have you written, Mike?
Today?
I'm
Tyler Perry-esque.
So
we're knocking out 13 scripts a day, baby.
We've written a lot of movies, so in my brain, yeah. So like, obviously.
But I think, like I said, I think the first 2 acts were so solid because of the storytelling and the acting that it was disappointing to see how it ended. But it was just like it didn't really fully tarnish. Like for me, it knocked off a point. Like half a point, not a full point. It's not like it was when we saw The Pale Blue Eye, or something like that. Which maybe I realized
honestly for
I might
me,
have been a little too harsh.
Yeah, for me, I thought it was worse. No, for me, I thought the ending of this was worse than The Pale Blue Eye because anyway. But yeah, so
but yes, I think, and also it's interesting to note that this is the director's like feature film debut.
Fair.
So I think if with this foundation, she can only go up.
True.
Like, I think this is her get out. This is her sixth sense in a way where it's just like, incredibly talented. I can't wait to see what all of these, the director, the main actress, I can't wait to see what they all do.
Though I will say, with the ending, I would really, compare it more to The Happening, not really The Sixth Sense. It was more the trees, not really I see dead people. I'm just throwing that out.
I'm just saying, if this is how she starts,
fair.
I can't wait to see any other story she tells.
Yeah, and then I will also agree from with the lead actresses and everyone in it. It was very funny, and across the audience, that was always something fun about going to movie theaters, is when a joke lands and it lands well, and literally everyone in the theater's cracking up. That happened a lot in this movie, which was really cool, and it was a great coming of age story. And there's a lot of cheeky things, and obviously we're Americans, so the whole English accent and the English slag's one of my favorite. Slag is one of my favorite.
Call somebody a wanker. It's just okay.
I love calling people wankers. Malarkey, wanker, and slag are some of my favorite things to throw out.
Language. Jesus Christ, there's kids listening to this,
but not British kids. Yeah. So yeah, but yeah. So it was for me personally. So for Mike, it was a 3. For me personally, it was a 3.5, 4 up until the end. Do you is it worth seeing in theaters, or should you wait? I guess.
Actually, that is an interesting question. I feel like there are certain movies like your Top Guns, your Avatars, that definitely, even Dune. I think if you saw it in a 4D, you had seen it.
I saw Dune twice.
There are certain movies that kind of are enhanced by the movie going experience. I don't know if this one. I think maybe to see it with like you said, to see it with an audience, to get that kind of that reaction from certain moments.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's necessary that you see it in the theater. I would definitely say see it.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, definitely support this one, because I feel like it's coming out. It's coming out in a week and with cinema, because obviously Guardians comes out next week. But I don't think it'll get as much eyes in America as it does maybe in the UK.
Oh, fair. It should definitely in the UK, and then there's a lot of people. Yeah, I'd say I agree. I agree seeing it, and I didn't think about that of it's going to get buried. Unfortunately, this movie's probably going to get buried.
I think luckily not too. Like I said, this is a fairly weak week with movies, but it is very niche in a way. I don't think it got as big of a release in the US as it did as it might in the UK.
Yeah.
So that might hurt it for them. I guess this will be an international.
Yeah.
The US is an international box office versus their domestic, which is the UK. So we'll see. But I would definitely say see it. I outside of my frustrations or disappointment towards the conclusion of the film, it was really, really well acted, and really an interesting peek into someone's mindset.
Yeah.
When when they feel like they're losing something that they love.
Yeah. Fair. Yes. Yeah. I think if they really lean into that, and I agree, because also with the weakness of, I guess, in the U.S. market, we normally go to Regal because we have the Regal Unlimited, because we live in D.C. That's the closest one. Regal didn't even play it.
Yeah.
No Regals around.
So I'm curious to see how many theaters how many screens this one gets.
Yeah.
Because it was the same thing with The Covenant last week, right? That one got a lot of marketing. I think I've seen a lot more with the Polite Society as well, as far as the marketing. Yeah. But what does the marketing mean if it's not getting the equal screens as your? Obviously, I think people are still going to see Mario, possibly still John Wick a bit. Obviously, Evil Dead Rises on its second.
Evil Dead Rises is really good.
Its second week, so it's it may get buried, but I think it is. Despite all that, despite your box office returns, it is a very, very good movie.
Fair. Yeah.
That's how the ending.
Except for the ending. Yeah. We get it. So I would say it's worth seeing. Check it out. You might not be quite as disappointed in the ending as others, who won't be named, because I don't talk to myself in third person. But for the most part, still see it. And I agree with that. See it. It's not worth getting buried. It should be seen, especially for the director. If it's her first movie, really, she has a very promising career, and I want to watch her next movie. Right, I'm excited for her next movie, and same with the actresses. I'm excited for their next movies from this. Yeah, so I'll take it. So go ahead and see it. All right, so next we always like to go a little background of the movie. How's the box office doing? What are some ratings on Rotten Tomatoes? A little bit of that. So Mike, what do we got? All
right, so Polite Society, a movie that dropped in 2023 on April 28th.
This year.
The runtime is 1 hour and 43 minutes, which wasn't too bad.
It was very it was fast paced in a good way.
Yeah.
I didn't feel it was too fast, but they kept
Honestly,
it moving.
I think it was going with the emotions of the character, of the lead actress. since she was so frantic in a way, like trying to get things going. I think the movie really followed her energy.
Yes,
and it really propelled it through. The budget, I could not find anything on the budget, but I think that's also because since it's a UK film, they might
more or less than $5 for you guys.
I'd say more. Just the costuming alone with the wedding.
More than $5 for this movie, everybody.
We don't know the box office yet. Obviously, it just came out.
Yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes currently, as of today, Friday the 28th, it's at a 91. But obviously, it just came out, so we'll see how that fluctuates. We don't even have an audience score yet.
So apparently, I don't know what I'm talking about with endings. I'm just stupid.
And it is an action comedy. I think the director labeled it as a feminist action comedy, which is you can see that.
There's a lot of girl power in the movie, in a good way, in a not overbearing. Oh God! Jesus, the fact I said that. But but in a not like trying to just shut down everything. It's like to watch her grow and become like a better person through all of this is great, and that was a really nice thing to see. Yeah.
Okay, so the director, her name is Nida Manzoor. This, like we said, is a feature film debut. She had previously co-created this series called We Are Lady Parts. Okay. They got a high acclaim. I think she directed 2 Doctor Who episodes. Okay. So mainly in television, a few short films, but this is her, her big break. It stars Priya Kansara as Ria Khan. That's the young actress that we were talking about. Yeah. She hadn't done. I think she had been in a few episodes of Bridgerton before this, and then not much else. So
who's she in Bridgerton?
I have no idea. I don't watch Bridgerton. So.
I've watched both seasons multiple times. I'm like
probably season 2, I assume.
Oh yeah, definitely season. But she's not either the sister. Who's she in Bridgerton?
I don't know. It was only 2 episodes, so possibly not a huge role.
Yeah.
And then we have Ritu Arya as Lena Khan, Ria's sister, who, like I said, she'd been in the Umbrella Academy, and the Red Notice. Yeah. I think she's gonna be in the Barbie movie coming up.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That's interesting. And then Nimra Buka as Rahila Shah. That is
the mom.
The mom, the groom's mother. So. Yes. I don't know. I think a lot of them haven't had too much of a big break in the American, like in the Hollywood cinema, maybe more in the UK and stuff like that. So, but like I said, don't know much about them, but I'm very interested to see how their careers progress after this film. The tagline for this movie was "Big Trouble, Little Sister."
Okay, yeah, makes sense. Yeah,
which was cool. I like it. And that's the background that I have.
Beautiful. Great. Yeah. So again, we'd say, you should see it. So before we get into our play-by-play, so now we're going to start getting to spoilers. So if you aren't sure whether or not you want to see it, Mike and I are both saying go see it, or if you'd like to wait, just do us a favor. Make sure you come back. Other than that, we're about to get into our play-by-play, but a quick word from our sponsors. This guy. Again, hello, Edward Hunt. I'm a real estate agent in D.C., Maryland, and Virginia. Technically, my team is Virginia, but we are the Just Be team of Compass. And really, if you have any home needs at all, so lenders, contractors, you want advice on how the market's going, feel free to reach out to us at any point in time. A great thing about Compass as well is we are a nationwide brokerage. So even if you live, give me a state.
America.
That's a country.
That's what I said.
Okay. So even if you live in Florida. I
don't like pop quizzes.
I see that because you failed that very poorly. You did very poorly in that pop quiz.
Second summer school.
So even if you live in Florida and you would like a phenomenal agent, Compass is a brokerage that recruits very strong agents. So please feel free to reach out and we can connect you with somebody there.
Don't put me on the spot.
It's literally, this is all improv. We do this in one take. Except for that, we have to cut out our hair. It's fine. But let's get into our play-by-play. So, how does this movie open?
In
America. False again. It's in London.
False again. Okay, so the movie opens up with Ria Khan, our main character, our protagonist. She's was she late for her karate class or was she already there?
No, she was in the front.
Okay. Anyway,
so someone did come in late.
Yes,
for a second
I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
But so she's in her karate class. It's very intense. Like she's big into martial arts. And then, in contrast, we meet her older sister, Lena, who's at home and she's painting. And and as any tortured artist, she's frustrated with whatever she's created. So I think she screams and then she needs to take a walk.
Yeah. She screams, destroys her painting,
Yeah.
which I get it. I've erased a page or two. I've like been writing for like 30 minutes to an hour, and I was like, this is all shit. And I just erased everything I did. Then the next day, I'm like, oh no, why did I do that?
But yeah, so she goes out. She takes a walk. She passes this I guess not restaurant, but like a takeout spot.
Yeah, like a Chinese takeout spot with like the Peking duck right in the front.
And apparently she's hungry, so she goes in and gets the entire duck.
Yep, hell yeah.
Does not have it bagged up or anything, just holding and eating the duck. And then she sees two older women who obviously she knows from the neighborhood.
Yeah.
She tries to hide from them. It was like, Lena, they've seen you already. What
So I guess background. So they're both Pakistani women living in London. So it's definitely like she sees the other like matriarchals of like other families there, and she like kind of hides in the corner at that point. I do want to say something I loved. It was that she was smoking a cigarette. People don't smoke cigarettes in movies anymore.
Oh, true.
Right. So the fact that she was like walking down the street smoking a cigarette, I was like,
but she was an artist and considered bad in the movie.
Like,
so.
I loved it. Like I was just like, yes, like live your truth. Yeah.
So after Lena hides from the two older women, she goes back home, and Ria arrives, and she's doing her like recording a YouTube video. So she's a martial artist that aspires to be a stunt woman.
Yes.
Her what is it? Her role model or her
her idol is Eunice,
Hut Hart.
Hut Hart. Is she a real stunt
Who's
woman?
an actual stunt woman.
Hell yeah.
And,
That's awesome.
That's why I did the research. So she won this show called Gladiator,
Oh,
which was,
yeah,
I assume, the equivalent of American Gladiator in America. And then she went on to, she's a big stunt woman. She doubles for Angelina Jolie, so like in Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yeah.
GoldenEye was, I think, her big break, the Chris Brosnan movie.
Yep. James
what
Bond movie.
James Bond.
For the record.
The Fifth Element, and then V for Vendetta.
Which she, I guess, for Lilu? I guess.
Yeah.
Oh,
so it's like, she's had a big, huge career.
Okay.
As a stunt woman.
I officially love this woman too. Like Fifth Element's one of my favorite movies. So she was on Fifth Element. That's amazing. Yeah.
So that's Ria's idol. She has a poster on her wall, and she's recording a video for a YouTube channel. And she's saying this, I guess, this moniker or something like that, where it's just like the man said, "You won't outlast the Fury," and then I say, "I am the Fury."
Yeah.
And so this is she keeps something that she keeps repeating, that she is the Fury. That's kind of her nickname. And so I think she tries a move, and then it was just like she hears music from, I think, her sister's room. So she goes in there, and I think I love this because immediately it reminded me of Booksmart. Yeah. Where just like you see this relationship between these sisters, and I think the entire cast really, like Ria's two friends, even her classmates. It was very, very authentic. It was real. It was like you didn't have to. Oh well, we've been sisters since. It was obviously you don't need to walk me exposit. How long you've known each other. It was just like it did very well to show that relationship. So like she immediately lays on her bed. Ria lays on Lena's bed, and she's just like, "How was your day?" And Lena's not having the best day, obviously, because she her art and seeing those two women.
Yep.
And then Ria's like, "Can you help me record something?" And like initially, Lena's like, "No, I'm not gonna do it." And then like you see this like little sister bugging, and like even like I love that. And maybe this is just an actress or just their relationship where it's just like Lena said no, but she was going to say yes.
Exactly.
Like she kind of smiled.
Yeah,
and she was like, I don't know.
I was going to bring up the exact point. It was like as soon as she said that, Lena first smiled and then said no, and you're like you could immediately see like I have younger sisters.
And I love that because that's the
sibling dynamic.
That's the sibling thing. So
it was very natural, very like real, and that was like it was just like so they're great sisters. I was like so what you get from the opening is you get they're both a little awkward, and then you get that they're just phenomenal sisters and they love each other, which is phenomenal. Yeah.
So they go outside to record. Ria says the line again about I am the Fury. And then I think she's trying this double...
It's a jumping back spin kick. So she like jumps...
I thought it was a double something.
I don't know how many times she...
I thought it was a double back spin kick or something like that. That's what her friends had said towards towards the first fight.
They called it a double, I don't know. But it didn't look like a double. But it looked like a back spin
here
kick.
we go, critiquing the film and her martial arts. But so... Ria attempts this double spin kick and fails immediately.
But Lena builds her up.
And then I think Lena's just like, it looks so dope. So she tries it again, fails it again. But you do see this like them supporting one another because Ria had asked Lena about her art. She was like, obviously they support each other's dreams, you
Yeah.
know, and everything like that. So I think next we see it's it's chapter 1. It's not that serious. I was gonna say this movie is broken up into chapters.
Yes. Yeah.
So the first chapter is when Ria gets home, and it's the tale of the two sisters.
Yes. Yeah. And yes, we see the great sisters. We see what's going on. We see that they support one another, which is great. And then I guess you can kind of see with the disproving looks of the two older women earlier that the two sisters are not how the rest of these families want them to be a little bit from here. Like, and you can kind of
I think you get more of it a little bit later, but still
Yeah.
with those two women. So the next day, Ria goes to school, and then you meet her two friends, Clara and Alba,
Yes.
who are Alba is fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Smooth, dumb, but lovable, dumb.
Yeah. Which one was the? So just 100% with names. So which one's the?
Clara was a tech one.
Clara was the tech one. And
Yeah.
Alba, that makes sense. Yeah.
And so they meet one another, and Ria's like they're hyping Ria up, and this is where you see once again they do. You don't need to exposit people's relationships, right? There are ways to do it organically, you know, because it's a visual media. So like they have a secret handshake. There's like they're all weird, but they're cool.
Virgins.
Edith was amazing.
Yeah.
But so like they're hyping her up because Ria's building up the courage to ask their teacher if she could intern with Eunice.
Eunice. Yeah. Is it Eunice?
Eunice. Sorry.
Eunice.
Yeah. I apologize. And
I'm offended.
So they're hyping each other up, and they say handshake, and they do this like in a 3-person handshake, and then it ends with them kind of doing the Matrix.
Yeah, like woo.
And like every time in the movie is a running gag, but it's like every time they do their handshake, one of their classmates, I believe her name is Edith.
Okay, yeah.
She just comes and says, "Virgins," and they all immediately just react
because like, you fucking slag. You're a slag. Your mom's a slag.
And it's mainly Clara. Like, Clara does not play that shit.
Clara. Yeah.
But it was just like it was just so fucking funny. But it was like really, it was. Once again, they established the friendships or the relationships between media very well.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, they're hyping her up to ask the teacher if she can intern with Eunice. Or what did we just?
Eunice?
Eunice.
No, it's Eunice. Yeah. We're gonna say Eunice, and we're gonna pick Eunice. And apologies if we're wrong for the rest of this podcast.
So she asked if she could intern with her, and the teacher's like, we don't see stunt woman as because I think it's their career development class or something like that. And she's saying the teacher's really pushing back, saying that they don't see stunt woman as a viable career option. Maybe she should be a doctor. Yeah. And I think Ria is very, very much against being a doctor.
Yeah. And I get so this is where you get being a doctor, that's like the stereotypical profession that people would expect her and like her family would want her to be. Yeah. Like everyone would be so happy that their Pakistani daughter is a doctor, and that's like, yep, that's great.
And so while
she's like totally against that, for the record, everyone would say that's great, and she's like, that's disgusting. Yeah, absolutely
she's like,
not.
I do not want to be a doctor.
Exactly. I'm going to be a stunt woman. Yeah.
And so like while she's having this exchange with the teacher, you meet another character outside of one of their classmates, Kovacs.
Yes,
who is kind of the school bully in a way. In a way, not so much. But it's just so she's like just commenting in the back, and you see that there's tension between Ria and Kovacs, and so they go to the library after like she gets rejected. Yeah. Her request gets rejected by the teacher, and they're trying to figure out how they're gonna get the internship for Ria.
Yeah, well, because Ria keeps reaching out to Eunice, but Eunice has not gotten back to her because she's probably busy doing a Marvel or a Star Wars.
That's what the teacher asked. She was just like, "Well, has Eunice actually agreed to this?" Yeah. And this is where Ria has to take a step back. It was like, "Well,
no, not yet." And then she's like, "Well, the Dr. Gupta would love to have you," or something like that. And you're like, "Okay, yeah."
And so they're in the library, and Kovac comes up and obviously she wants to smoke from some comments that Ria had made in the classroom.
Oh, yeah, because Kovac's father's in prison for insider trading or something like that. So Kovacs was making fun of Ria made fun of Kovacs. Yeah. So on a side note, because I'm a dumb American, so there are house points for real in English schools?
I feel like Harry Potter really fucked us
That's
all
what
up.
I'm saying. Yeah, so Kovacs comes up and wants to smoke, as Mike was saying, and then she's like, oh, like, minus 10 house points for being loud in the library. And I was like, are we in Harry Potter? Like, I was just like, wait a
Because I thought
second.
it was a joke, and then Ria says, you can't do that. I was like, oh, so this is
I was
real.
like, that's real. I was like, okay, so apparently houses and house points
Because somebody
are real.
says 10 house points from my whatever. I'm just like, yo, that's a laugh. But it was like, Ria was like, don't you dare.
Yeah. And I do the same. So I guess I would love, please, if house points are real, please comment and let us know, because I have no idea.
I'm not doing the research.
I'm not. You want me to Google that? That'll
I
take
looked
30
up
seconds.
names this week, and that was my job.
It'll be 30 seconds of Googling. I just don't have that time.
So
Kovacs wants to smoke.
Kovac wants to smoke, so and Kovac knows. Obviously, the whole school knows that Ria wants to be a stuntman. She's big into martial arts, and so we get our first fight.
Yeah.
And like I said, it was very much stylized like Scott Pilgrim. So you get the text. It says Khan versus Kovac.
Yeah.
And it was like an intense fight. It was just. It's like Ria runs at Kovac. He catches her leg, throws her into a bookcase.
Yeah,
It's like some display case.
Thing. Yeah.
And they keep fighting. They're talking shit to one another, and it was just like you see. Ria she'll make a perfect stunt woman if her stunt is to get her ass kicked.
Yeah, because she gets her ass beat.
And then
And also in like the middle of the fight, she's like, "I am the Fury," and I'm like, "Oh no!"
she attempts the double spin kick or whatever.
When she Naruto runs at her and attempts a double spin kick, and you're like, "Oh, okay."
But it was because I think for me it was just like like you said earlier, it was like setting the parameters of this universe.
Yes.
Because I wasn't sure. It was like, is this in her head? It was like, is this in her head, or is it, is this really happening?
And it is confusing, especially right now. Is like, what is going on? Because then, like later when the fight gets kind of broken up, the teacher comes out. You're like, this is your reaction to like her getting thrown in.
Because even Kovac said it. She was like another 10 points for destruction of school property.
Yeah, because Ria starts the fight by like jumping off a pillar and like trying to kick Kovacs. Kovacs catches the leg and throws her in a bookshelf and breaks it. And I'm like, wait, what's real and what's not real? And I write this in my notes. I'm like, what's real and what's not real?
What is life?
Yeah, what is life? Where am I? What year is this? What's going on?
But yeah, so there's an intense exchange between Kovacs and Khan. You definitely see that Ria, if anything, has heart.
Yes.
She won't back down. She really, she really loves. She's big into her dream, and like she won't let anybody stop her.
Yeah.
She goes home that day, and then we get to meet her mother, Fatima.
Fatima. Yeah.
And she's about to go out to have high tea with the girls.
Yep.
She's kind of nervous at what she's wearing, but I think I love this because it's like also I had to remember that Ria is a teenager.
Yes.
So it's like a lot of that like pent up aggression or like just even like exchanges with parents comes from
awkward teenage angst.
Yeah. So just like it was nice to see her exchange with her mother because her mother's like obviously very nervous, and as a teenager could have like cut down their parent to be like,
fair.
oh,
Yeah,
that looks really dumb what you're wearing, but she was like, no, it looks good, and it was like I kind of can appreciate that, right? Because it was like so often with these coming of age films, it's like teenagers are so wrapped up into the world because they are going through stuff, but it was like you don't realize the impact that your words or actions have on other people around you, especially your parents.
Yeah.
So it was like nice to see that. Especially you see the relationship with her sister, like they're close, and then like even their parents. There's not that much distance.
Yeah.
Right?
Mom was worried about an ascot she was wearing. Ria made her feel better about the ascot, which was great. And I actually didn't think about that, but even that showing that with all this stuff going on, and you'll learn later, but even with her parents not really supporting Ria and Lena, Ria is still like reaching out, and she still loves her mom, which is really nice. Yeah, for sure.
And so I think Ria goes up to see Lena, and obviously Lena is still like in a little kind of depression cocoon or whatever, and then we get more background information about both the family and the girls. So like the mom goes to high tea with some of the more well-off women in the community, and one of the women who is like kind of the leader, Rahila Shah.
Yes.
Ask about Lena and Ria, and the mother goes, oh, they're good. They're good. Yeah, and it's like as you see them being good, they're just like partying in the house.
Yeah, they're like partying and dancing, showing that they're great sisters. But then like while the moms are talking, they're like, oh well, my son's a doctor, and this is going on with mine. And
then they mentioned the fact that Lena had dropped out of art school.
Yeah.
And kind of was like it was one of those things where like going to art school in that community was already something that was looked down on.
Yeah.
And then she dropped out too. So it was like, Jesus, like, you
Yeah.
know. But so it was interesting to see. Like, I think you were talking about it yesterday because I'm not familiar with like certain culture things, but it was like definitely seeing the kind of the shadiness or the passive aggressive like shade that's thrown based on like status and things like that.
So like background with that too. So like my wife is her mother's family is from like really far northern India, like almost Pakistan. But then when like colonialism happened from the English, they left that area and went to Fiji. But they are Muslim, so there's a lot of like the sharing of cultures of like Pakistan, northern India, and Fiji, kind of all blended of that really strong matriarchal thing. So I have seen my wife's mother be very not nice at times because of, you know, a lot of these other things. So like the art school, no way that would be accepted. And this is, my wife's a lawyer. So like my wife's a lawyer and her mother still like gets very displeased with her sometimes. We haven't talked a lot, but we don't need to get down that. But it's just like, so that's my experience with like that world. So like I've seen part of that. So then to see like that very high judgmental coming from others. And even like before when it was like, you know, similar to high tea, but instead of high tea, it was like at a mosque of like another girl who was like the nice girl, or like who was, everyone was like, oh, she's so nice, so beautiful, blah, blah, blah. And like to get that comparison, very annoying. But yeah, so you kind of see a lot of that pressure. Like you see a lot of that pressure, which a lot of people would have no idea is real, gets put in that movie towards the daughters, especially. It gets put to towards the sons, but especially the daughters, of like that overbearing pressure being put down. Yeah. So the fact that Lena was allowed to go to art school and Ria's allowed her dreams of like being a stunt woman, you say allow, but it's a very weird. Yeah. I say weird because I don't know it, but it's a very tumultuous area. Yeah.
So after I think. And this is the last thing on the high tea. Yeah. It was just like Rahila, is talking about how her son, Salim, just kind of refuses, because she's trying to arrange a marriage for him. Yeah. And he's being very persistent about like not wanting any of the women that he's presented. And then so Fatima mentions Lena. Even I think Rahila mentions Lena. Yeah. How pretty she is and stuff like that. So it's just like kind of like planting that seed. And then so at home we get dinner with the family, and now we meet the dad. His name is I feel it was Rafi or something. Okay.
Yeah, I don't fully remember honestly. No. Yeah.
But so the four of them sitting at the dinner table. The dad, being a dad, it was just saying, it was like, well, you know, Dr. such and such has a receptionist opening for you. And it was interesting that all three of the women were like, how dare you?
For the record, I'm just going to say, for the record, that he's like, hey, my daughter should have a job and make money. That's not a bad idea. While you're figuring stuff out, maybe you have a job while you figure it out. Just throwing that out there.
But it was just, I think it was interesting that all three of them, because I could understand Lena, I could understand Ria, but even the mom was like, oh, what the fuck? We didn't talk about this. It was very interesting. But it was just like, just trying to figure out what Lena's next step is, right? Yeah. They're happy to have her home from art school, mainly because they didn't want her to go in the first place. But they knew they couldn't stop her, and they supported their daughter.
Yeah, which,
if
phenomenal. Yeah, if sparingly, but still phenomenal that they still supported her and loved her and like were like happy that she was doing it. Yeah. So then you even get like a little bit of backstory here, and like more with like Lena and Ria as they're going along. But you can see, like, with parents not fully understanding or not fully, with them not fully understanding what their dreams are, what they're doing, then you get the, like, even though it's not said, so it's very much like it's not explained, but you can kind of infer from it, is that Lena and Ria have supported each other in their dreams for this entire time. And that's why you get, like, they're great sisters, because Lena has wanted to be an artist, and Ria has supported her in being an artist. And the fact that Lena, and I might be putting a lot of words into this, but Lena, being a good older sister, has also supported Ria in her dreams of being a stunt woman, and they've, like, built each other up with their dreams and stuff they want to do, which then also explains a little bit more with Ria later on why she reacts so negatively. Yeah.
And so there's an exchange. It was talking about how like Lena's gonna, like Ria mentions that Lena's gonna go back to art school, and even Lena's like, I don't know.
Yeah, like wait a second.
I don't know. And then Ria says that she's gonna be a stunt woman. She's very passionate about it. And her parents are like, no. Like, we're not doing that. We let one go to art school.
Yeah. Well, they're still just like they're just hoping she's going to grow
out of it.
It's just a phase. Yeah, they're like, for the love of God, I hope that she's growing out of this. That's what her parents are thinking.
And so Fatima mentions that they got invited to a party at the Shah's.
Is that for Eid? Was that
for? Yeah, it was Eid.
Eid. Yeah, which is the end of Ramadan.
Yes. And so even they mentioned, it was like, how did you pull that? Because don't they look down on us, right?
Yeah. Even the dad was like, wait, what? The dad was like, whoa, like, I'm like semi-successful, but like, I'm not that successful, Jesus.
And so they did this thing where it was like, I'm getting tired of in film and television where just like a character says, in no way in hell am I going to do such and such, and then the next scene is them doing that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Ria goes, I'm not going to that mansion or with those rich people, and next thing you know, they're all dressed up outside of the Shah mansion.
Yeah.
And like the sisters go, shit.
Yeah.
And then even the dad is like, shit.
Yeah, that was hysterical.
And that's what I'm saying. They find these comedic pockets without trying. I think it just even if they're not all comedic actors, I think they found ways to infuse comedy into like each their roles. And so the Shah family walks in. They get greeted by Rahila. Sorry.
Yeah. You can call her Shah if that's easier.
Shah.
Yeah.
Mama
Shah's her
Shah.
last name.
Mama
Yeah,
Shah.
Mama Shah. Yeah.
Got it.
Well, there's Salim Shah and then Mama Shah.
Mama Shah. Okay. And so they get greeted by Mama Shah, and like you see, this is when we finally get to meet her son Salim, and he's surrounded by a bunch of women telling a story.
They're just all thirsty.
Yeah,
they're just thirsty.
It was like I did this in a film. It was like he told a joke and everybody started laughing. I was just like, it wasn't that funny, so it was just
yeah, exactly.
And so Ria is immediately just like, oh fuck this guy. First of all, because he's a doctor, and we know that that's a trigger for her.
Second off, he's a geneticist that helps children. Oh, gross.
But yeah, so you see this you meet Salim. He's surrounded by all these women. He's obviously very charming. He's attractive. And he had,
he's a little thin for me personally, but that's fine, whatever.
I'm not going to body shame in 2023.
I'm allowed preferences, all right? I find the man
you like a bigger boy.
I want some muscle. I want some muscle on that frame, damn it. All right?
Off on a tangent.
If we're going to wrestle, I want to wrestle.
All right. Focus. Hey.
Oh,
I'll wait.
Shiny.
But so Ria finds out this back information from another girl at the party about Salim, and then she kind of gets tired of it, so she goes and
so the other younger friend, and she's just head over heels for this dude Salim the entire time.
She said, "I let him womanize me." I was like,
oh yeah, you're like 15, like you're 15 and he's 32. I'm just throwing that out there.
And so Ria goes and she kind of explores the mansion. She stumbles across an office. And she sees a bunch of photos of the different women in the party, at the party. Yeah. And I think she sees one with her sister. Yep,
Lena's one of the photos. A bunch of headshots. Because again, Mama Shah wants to have an arranged marriage for her son. So here's photos of all the women there.
Celebrating the end of Ramadan, but also this is a kind of a mixer of sorts.
Yes. Yeah.
And so when Ria goes back downstairs, Salim has introduced himself to Lena, and they seem to kind of be getting it off. Yeah. Getting along. Jesus Christ.
Hitting it off, getting along.
There we go.
Yeah, I knew what you meant.
And you see Mama Shah kind of walk up to them, kind of say, "Oh, what is this?" type of thing. Yeah. And then the next scene we see is Lena getting ready for her first date with Salim. Yeah. And clearly, Ria is not. One is because I think she's just protective of her sister, but also she had seen the photos. Yeah. So she knew that they were kind of looking for.
Wait, so she thinks of Salim as like this marriage hunter. He's just a marriage.
He's a wife hunter.
Wife hunter. That's what he said. Yeah. So this marriage hungry crazy guy who just wants to get married, and her sister has better things to do than to get married. Yeah.
And so I think this is a very interesting. Once again, I think it's so interesting to see actors recreate relationships, right? So it's just like you see, obviously, Ria is very wary of this date. Lena seems to be excited, but also playing off her sister.
This is what she needs to do.
The mom is just I think she's constantly chastising Ria for bad language and stuff.
Well, Ria says shag him and cut him loose. Ria's like, just shag him and cut him loose. A lot easier that way.
I just love the dynamic of the family because once again, they didn't need to exposit it. You just see it. It's just natural. It's there. So Lena goes out, because Salim arrives, so he picks her up, and then as they drive off, you see Ria get her coat like she's gonna follow them, and then immediately as she opens the door, her mom's like, "Don't even think about
it." Just spot right upside the head a little bit.
I just loved it, and so you see them on their first date, and it was I think they do hit it off. It was just I think they're having dinner, and the next thing you know, they're at the bar. So like they've stayed a little bit later. You know, the date is going a little bit, later than you know.
They make jokes about Salim being a mama's boy.
Yeah.
You know, a little bit but it's like let's not answer that. But it's going really well. Yeah, it's going super well.
And then he even asked her like what do you do? And her answer is like, well, she, I think she even took a breath because it was like it's one of those things like when you are in transition.
Yeah.
Or figuring things out, it is hard to articulate that to anyone else.
Well, and it goes back to is like the pressure, like especially in like those cultures and communities. There's so much pressure on the children to be like successful and what's going on, to have a plan, to like make sure you're working towards something. So the fact that she doesn't. She herself, you can tell like her body language when she's having this talk, she like shrinks away from him because she's scared and feels bad about it too because she's like, oh, everyone expects so much. I'm kind of like beating myself down. So then when Salim says like, I don't want to take your thunder.
No, go.
But when Salim says like, I think that's really cool. Yeah, he's like, I think that's really cool. You're taking the time to figure stuff out.
He says working things out.
Yeah. That's phenomenal. Like you see, like because again, like it's like the next generation because there's like the parents, they don't get it. So like the next generation and like Salim again, he's a 32-year-old guy.
I think he even made the joke. It was just like, so how much pressure are you getting to get married? And he was like, the regular amount from a Pakistani mother. She was like, so a lot.
Because it's like the regular amount for the only son of a Pakistani mother. She's like, oh, a lot. He's like, oh, a tremendously amount. And
it was like that kind of broke the ice.
Yeah, and that's so true. There's so much pressure.
It is one of those things, understanding that there is so much in common between us outside of just being both Pakistani. But it was like, we're dealing with the same pressures, and so the fact for him to not judge her on figuring things out, just like that's admirable.
Exactly,
because maybe he never had that chance.
So with the date going so well, it's like this is great. I'm happy for Lena. Salim seems like a decent dude. That's nice. Yeah.
And so they go on a few more dates, and then you do see that Lena does start. I don't want to say neglecting, but it was just like I think she's not there for Ria as much to be able to record for her, just hang out and stuff like that, because she is head over heels for Salim. Yeah, because she likes the guy and she has dates with the guy now, so she can't always play with her younger sister. So then you start seeing Ria is very upset because Lena, her sister's not always there like she was. And then I think this is one of the first times you see Ria email Eunice.
Yes.
To tell her, because she was like, I know you haven't answered. This is when she brings up the Marvel and stuff. Yeah. Like, I know you haven't answered because you're too, probably busy, but like
busy doing a Marvel or a Star Wars.
Yeah. She kind of like lets her know what's going on in her life. And then one day she comes home and she sees one of Lena's canvases in the trash. Yeah. And then she grabs it and she's confused because once again they support each other with their passions. One is art, one is martial arts. Yes. And so Ria pulls the art out of the trash, and like she's confused. She's going to bring it to Lena to get an explanation. But as she walks into the living room, you see both the Shah family and the Khan family there. And Lena has a huge rocker in her finger, and she's engaged. And like I think Ria just
an emerald ring, not diamond. I'm just throwing that out there. Yeah.
Things we're not going to judge.
I would say diamond with emerald cut, sure, but emerald. I thought you were a doctor, Salim.
Bridezilla over there. So Ria literally immediately goes into, we need to stop it because it's only been a month or so or something like that.
Her with Clara and Alba.
Yeah, so this starts chapter 3, Operation Wife Hunter.
Yes, yeah.
Where she gets her. I don't know if they're in her house. I don't know whose house they're in.
It's an attic somewhere. Yeah, someone's got an attic. Yeah, they are definitely in hers just because later when they leave.
They do leave. You're right. Yeah. So she calls her two friends, Clara and Alba, and they are trying to figure out a plan to stop the wedding, to break them up, right? And I think this is where you see that they're all kind of weirdos or something, like they're misfits, or like they're just screaming. Yeah,
but they're diplomacy.
But it was like once again, still like they're best friends, so they're supporting each other's like wild and crazy thoughts and stuff like that. And so her first thought is to enact diplomacy. Yes. I think she goes around asking, are you sure? Like, I mean, it's too fast. And like, she's going to different members of her family, and then ultimately to Lena, and they're all saying like how happy they are that this is happening. Yeah. And then this is also when I think Lena mentions that she's going to Singapore after the wedding, and I think this also this drives Ria further into madness because it's like not only is she losing her sister to a husband, but she's losing her because she's leaving.
Yeah, because she's just going to straight up leave and no longer be in England anymore. Yeah,
and so they meet back up in the attic, and it's just like, all right, fuck diplomacy.
Yeah.
We need to
diplomacy's stupid.
Yeah, has it ever worked?
Yeah, has diplomacy ever really worked? Yeah, that was very funny.
Fucking Alba. And so they move on to phase 2, which is dirt.
Yes.
And so Ria has been doing some recon on Salim. She finds out that every day after...
at this point in time, too, when Ria went to Lena and said, hey, are you sure about this, whatever, Lena has told her, hey, if you can't support me, you need to get out of my life. It escalated. Like, Lena did escalate by saying, like, hey, little sister, if you can't support me, get out of my life.
Yes.
And that's like, ooh, that's harsh. Yeah.
And so Ria has done some recon on Salim, finds out that he goes to the gym every day after work before he comes to pick up Lena.
As one does.
And so, like, being that Clara is a tech wizard, which I'll allow it, fine. Yeah. No questions asked. She's a smooth 15-year-old, but I will allow it.
Gotta get in the mainframe. I'm in. I'm like, okay.
But so they're going to steal Salim's laptop from the gym, from his gym locker, in order to copy it to find dirt on him.
Yes.
And so this is a very funny sequence where it's like, so they get to the gym first. Salim goes in. Ria dresses up as a man.
Like, super fake mustache.
Fake mustache, terrible wig.
And it's like, get your...
It was like back straight, boobs in.
Back straight, boobs in, and then walk with a swagger. And it's like...
So it's like, she goes in and she steals his laptop. Excuse me. She gives it to Clara, and she says it's going to be 5 minutes to copy the laptop. So Ria goes up to the second floor of the gym to keep an eye on Salim. Mm-hmm. And he moves. He goes from the treadmill to the punching bag. Yeah. And
I thought they were going to bond over this, honestly. I was hoping they were going to bond.
I really was.
Because, so, with all of this, too, I think this is a good time to put it out. It's like, you're not fully sure what's real and what's not, right? Because you get some of, like, fights, and it gets even a little bit more, too, of, like, what exactly, is how much of this is in her head, and, like, with her having an overactive imagination, how much is real life, so what's going on. So then, I personally was hoping that when she saw him on the punching bag, she was going to kind of bond with him a little bit.
I kind of thought so, too. So it's just like... Just to jump back into the movie, he's on a punching bag. Clara realizes that it's not going to take 5 minutes to copy, but over maybe 30 minutes. Yeah. So they need to distract him for longer. So this is when Ria drops her disguise, forgets her mustache. Yeah.
Forgets the fact she's wearing a mustache, and she goes and approaches Celine. Yeah.
And so like I said, so he's leaving a punching bag, and I thought you're right. I thought maybe like she'd like try to spar with him or just like because they do have something in common. But instead they get a smoothie and kind of sit and have an awkward conversation.
Super awkward
because he doesn't know what to say to her. She's just trying to distract him, but she's obviously bad at thinking on her feet.
Yeah. Well, he knows that she has not approved of this relationship at all. So what are you really doing with this right now? Yeah.
And so they have a brief conversation. He mentions that. She asks, what do you love about Lena? Yeah. And she said that she's kind, she's generous, and kind of your surface things.
Yeah, which those are a little basic. Yeah. They are, yeah.
And so as soon as the copy is done, Clara lets Ria know, and she immediately stands up. So, all right, goodbye.
Goodbye, and shake hands. Okay.
And then we see, God, it's hilarious. We see Alba dress up, disguised as a man, to walk into the men's locker room to return the laptop. It's the walk. It's
the same kind of walk. She has a goatee instead of a mustache.
She has she's a teenage girl attracted to men, so she's just like, oh boy. Like,
when Ria was there was like Salim who didn't get naked, and like one of them didn't towel. Alba goes in, there's like 6 naked dudes, and she's like, oh god, what do I do?
But so they go through. Oh, sorry. So afterwards, Ria goes home, and this is where you get Lena finding out about what happened at the gym, and like you said, she had mentioned it was like, if you don't support me, stay out of my life. So if you don't support me, why were you at the gym? That's not your gym.
Yeah, why are you there? What's going on?
Like, why'd you talk to Salim? And so like we get another fight scene where it's just like Khan versus Khan. Yeah. And I thought it was really interesting too because of the fact that like obviously since Ria is a stunt woman or into martial arts. Yeah. The fact that
Lena beats her
ass. But it was like once again, talking about the difference between what's real and what's not. It was just, it could just because I'm an older sibling, so I'm gonna whoop your ass regardless.
Yeah, fair. Yeah.
Versus me also being trained in martial arts. It was like I couldn't really tell because they're like breaking. Freaking what's her name? Ria's head is bleeding.
Yeah, Lena like bashes her head into the picture of. So there's a picture on Ria's wall of like the two sisters together, and Lena takes her head and just bashes her into it. So there's like broken glass, and she's bleeding out of her forehead a little bit, and then she kicks her through the damn door, and the parents are like, "All right, ladies, I don't care who started it, just clean it up and come down."
I love that because it's like once again, I love the visual representation of siblings because I remember like beating up my brothers and like we'll make a noise. I was like, my brother might cry out, but like I hit him so hard he couldn't. Like he doesn't have his breath.
You just punch him in the throat.
So like my mom was like, "What's happening in there?" And I got to answer him. He fell.
He's fine. Don't worry about it.
And then I'm like, "Don't you say shit." It was just, so I love that where the mom's like, "I don't care who started it. Just come downstairs." And Lena's like, "On our way, mom."
Yeah, on our way, mom. And she just goes right down. But then the next scene, when Ria's talking with her friends, she's completely healed.
Yeah.
So now with the rules, you're establishing that some of these fights aren't as real as they seem.
Yeah, they might have fought, but they didn't get as like intense.
She did not get her head bashed in
or kicked through a door.
Or kicked through a door. So these are the rules you're establishing with this movie right now. And so like, great, I'm totally fine with that. That's totally fine. But like, again, stick with your rules going forward. But yeah, so now she's talking with her friends after the fight.
And also, really quickly, during the fight, because Ria's saying, "Look, why did you're giving up your art for some guy or something like that?" And Lena just straight out says, "It was just like, I didn't give up my art. Maybe I'm just not good."
All right, didn't you say she got kicked out of art school because she wasn't good enough, or was that later?
No. I think she just said, I'm not. Maybe I'm not good enough.
Yeah, I thought. Well, later on, she did say I left art school because I can't remember if it was now or later when she just straight up said I'm a bad artist or something like that. Yeah,
but it was just not good enough.
Yeah, not good enough. Yeah.
And so like I think that took that was a very interesting for her to kind of admit. I think because I think Alba had mentioned earlier that like she's just in the second phase of her story, right? Yeah. Where it's just like Act 1, she breaks out on her own, goes to art school. Act 2, it doesn't work out. She hits rock bottom, but like that next phase, that next act is where she kind of like comes into her own. Yeah. So she's just in the middle of acts or whatever.
So then you see, and this is where it gets kind of muddled or muddy, is Ria, who looks up to her sister, obviously, with her sister telling her, "Oh, I'm not a good artist," or "I'm not good enough for art school," that shakes Ria to her core because, like, the person she's been looking up to and the person she's emulated, and the person like Ria is chasing a separate dream, but it's very much Ria's chasing her dream of being a stunt woman, and she gets inspiration from her older sister who's chasing her dream of being an artist. And that's why Ria keeps stating, "No, Lena's going to be an artist this entire movie." Yeah.
And so she meets up with Clara and Alba, who have combed through Salim's computer and found nothing. Yep. And so Ria moves on to phase 3 of Operation, Wife Hunter was just like, well, now we just need to do a smear campaign. Yep. Yeah. And so her friends are like, no, maybe, are you sure you're not just jealous or like going, like literally reacting negatively to losing your best friend, your sister? Yeah. And so she does what Lena says. You're just like, well, if you're not with me, then you're against me. Get off. Yeah. And so, they're surprised, but they leave. And so she goes about Operation Smear. Yeah.
Which was ridiculous.
So she fills condoms up with lotion.
With a lot of lotion. Like, no man can
and then
do
ties
that.
them off.
Yeah, ties them. Whoa, that's what...
Once again. 15-year-old girl.
Exactly. Yeah.
She's thinking on her feet.
She's thinking on her feet. There's like 4 condoms, and she fills up each condom like halfway with lotion. And you're like, oh, that man.
And so she fills up these condoms. She's going to plant them in Salim's room to make it seem like he's cheating. Yeah. And so this is chapter 4, the assault on Shaw Mansion. Yeah. Where she, using a grappling hook. Yep. Once again, is it real or not?
Well, she like wall jumps first. She's like,
the parkour. Yeah,
she parkours up there. So this is one too. With when that's happening, you see like there's been jokes about Salim being a mama's boy. Yeah. And then he's like a 32-year-old man who's like laying on her mom's lap a little bit, and you're like, for that I was like, it's one of those where I'm like, that's a little weird because he's 32 years old. Just throwing that out there. Yeah.
But so she breaks into Salim's room. She starts planting these condoms in random places. And then she looks underneath his bed, and there's a box with a picture of Salim and a woman in it.
Yeah. So they're wearing wedding attire. Yes. The red. Yeah, they're wearing like actual wedding attire in the photo.
Yeah, so she tucks that photo, and then since she wasn't as quiet as she should have been, like she gets caught.
Yeah, Mama Shaw realizes.
Yeah.
And Mama Shaw's like, don't worry about it, baby. And she like goes up for all that. Yeah.
And so the next scene we see Ria sitting on the couch and she's like kind of frantic. And so you have her parents there, Lena, Celine, and Mama Shaw.
Yep.
Like trying to figure like, what are you doing? Like, what are you? And it was like I think Ria is like very, very like overwhelmed. It seems, or just like she's kind of shaking and stuff like that. And so she says like, you don't know what he's doing because she's found the photo. So she says she shows them the photo, and Lena takes it.
Yeah.
And she shows Salim, and he's kind of heartbroken, and you find out that it is his ex-wife who died
in childbirth.
Yep. And it was like that's a big part of his research was making sure, because of the fact that I think her symptom. I think she had a heart attack during childbirth, but it was like the symptoms seemed like maybe a contraction or something like that, so it wasn't spotted. Yep. So like a lot of his research is going to find, making sure that it doesn't happen. And so Ria takes a step back and she's like, oh, I didn't know or whatever. And it was like you see Lena like kind of freak out, and she's just like, you'll never be a stunt woman. I'm not going to be an artist. Yeah. It kind of like sick of Ria's antics.
Because also they mentioned like that Ria has an overactive.
Yes.
They mentioned that Ria has an overactive imagination right now, and then Lena makes that comment. So then right now, because this is kind of where it's coming, is like right now is a great moment, in my opinion, and how I would have preferred for the movie, is to say, hey, Ria has an overactive imagination. A lot of this kind of starts winding up to be a little bit in her head, right? And then to have that interaction, because Ria is going to miss her sister. She's terrified of her sister leaving. She's terrified of the fact that her sister has given up on her dreams, so she doesn't know what to do with her personal dreams as a stunt woman, with Lena leaving her dreams. That's something to be terrified of. There's a lot of metaphor going on here that's deeper, and I would have loved for it to stay deep like this. But now is when we start kind of transitioning a little bit, and we go on.
So afterwards, you do see that like kind of Ria sends an email to Eunice again saying, "Oh, this is my last one. Don't worry about not answering. I don't want to be a stunt woman." You see her mom consoling her because obviously she had a fight with her sister, and her mom's like, she will forgive you. Just give her time. Yep. Yeah. And then she was like, you know what you have to do now. Yeah. So she takes a tray of food over to the Shaw mansion.
Tasty looking cookies.
Yeah, to apologize for all the kind of the pain that she caused in the past, since they started dating. And Mama Shaw is very, very understanding. She's like, come on in, I'm having a spa day. Yeah. And so they talk a bit, they get their nails done, and then they talk about getting a wax. And this is where you get, I think it was in the trailer too, but it was so you have Ria on the table with a few women, there to wax her legs, and Mama Shaw just sitting kind of in it.
Was this before or after Lena wakes up at the Shaw mansion and has that weird dream?
I think this is
around the same time.
Maybe right before, right after that.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay. So she's getting waxed. So she's like, let's try waxing. So while that's going on, what's Mama Shaw doing?
Initially she's sitting in a chair, legs crossed,
very evil villain.
And she's like basically saying that I know that you've been trying to sabotage this wedding, but that's not going to happen. This wedding is going off. And then as she's giving this villain speech, she's having the women wax Ria's legs. It's just, I didn't realize it's the simplest tortures. It's like I think Casino Royale or one of the Daniel Craig James Bond movies where the guy just has him in a chair naked.
That's Casino Royale. Wham! Just
it's the simplest of
he could have just waxed his legs. It would have been the same effect.
There's no way James Bond had a kid in that last movie.
No. No.
Spoiler.
Spoiler. Sorry.
Science alert.
There's some mashed avocados.
They're bruised. They're way past their time. But anyway, so she's Mama Shaw is giving this speech about this wedding's gonna happen. You don't know what I did, what I sacrificed to, for my son. And so Ria escapes, and we get another fight with her, and you trying to realize, is this real or not type of thing, where she fights the three ladies that were waxing her. Yeah. And she escapes to some underground lab, right? And you see I guess it was something in the Like,
so those were fetal pigs. So, yeah,
Okay.
so as an AP biology
Okay,
teacher, those are fetal pigs. So it was funny because like in these tubes are like fetal pigs with a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, oh, those are just fetal pigs. But they do, if you don't really look at them, they look like this weird like what's going on.
It was weird to me because I'm not familiar, and it was
Yeah.
like you do see like she's going through his computer, and like you see the different women that were in the photos. And, saying, and it just ultimately comes to Leah's uterus is a perfect match.
Ideal host.
Ideal host.
It says ideal host, and literally my notes when I saw this were just boo. And I was just like,
Because, like you said, I think it was a very interesting before this. It was a very very interesting take on somebody's reaction. To loss.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal look at a young woman who is growing up and having to deal with loss and having to deal with change in her life and having an overactive imagination and how is she going to respond to this. But now all of a sudden, all of her feelings and thoughts were now valid because this is real.
Especially in this world. Like you said before, it was just like you established this as basically the real world.
Exactly, because you're just like, well, great. So now
it's like you add some sci-fi elements or some shit to it.
So like there's we don't know what's going on yet. So but now, okay, so this is real and she was right all along, and the lessons she needs to learn, she's not going to learn them because, she was right.
Yeah.
So all that character growth and development you've been working towards and getting and starting to like, oh, we're going to get it.
Yeah. So Ria escapes the lab, escapes the mansion, runs off. Tries to tell her mother when she gets home, but her mom is obviously just like, you're going through something, like, and it was like I think you could see it in her eyes too because her eyes are like were fucking
she
dilated,
gets kind of
like,
manic and crazy a little bit with this, and you're like, she's going through something,
and so she goes back to her friends who are still kind of ignoring her because of what she had said earlier. But she's just like, she explains to them what she found.
Yeah. Well, so around this, I think it was definitely before this, right? Where like Lena wakes up at the mansion.
Yes.
So before this happened, Lena wakes up at the mansion and she has like this weird dream sequence of her like on a table and kind of like out of it. And then
I think it was right before. So that happened right before Ria shows up.
That happened right. So that
because
happened
she says, "How much did we drink last night?"
Yeah, she was
and
like,
I think it was after what's her name? Ria had assaulted the mansion.
Yeah, so that was after that, before Ria escaped from the waxing. So Lena she was on a table. She was kind of confused and out of it. She woke up. She's very embarrassed because she had a very heavy flow with her period. And Celine responds like a champ. Is like, oh, don't worry about it at all. We can clean that. Let me get you some stuff. It's very like so much. And that was another thing I enjoyed about the movie and why I was disappointed was because Celine and Lena's relationship for so much of this movie was a healthy, good relationship. Because, like, it's 2023, grow the fuck up when your woman has her period, right? You're like, don't freak out about that. And he didn't. And, like, when, like, oh, if someone's trying to figure themselves out, don't judge them negatively. And he didn't. He supported her. So much of that relationship was positive. So I loved that about this movie. And then when all of a sudden, no, it's this criminal cabal.
Because now it makes it like, it's not criminal, but it's like, there's an underlying purpose for it. So it's like that. It's villainous to be
so
that,
like let them
not
have
the
a
norm.
good relationship and like kind of. But then because also with that you see Mama Shaw. She has this word like make sure you take these pills. And I'm like, damn it, man! Like come on, like just let them be quirky.
You had something good and you kind of But anyway, so she gets her friends back on board.
Yep.
And now they need to come up with a plan to stop the wedding to get Lena out of the grasp of the Shaw family. Yeah. So they get Kovac, who was the bully, to like they need her car. Yep. And they say like you were gonna do your history homework for the rest of the semester because we know you're failing. And so I think the plan is they're gonna chloroform.
Which that reminds me. Well, that's actually later because they chloroform Ria first, and she pops up after 6 minutes when they're timing it. But so I'll mention the chloroform thing later. Yeah.
But they're going to chloroform Lena at the wedding to kidnap her to take her to some remote location, and so this we finally enter chapter 5. This is the final chapter of the movie. Ria, dressed in, a very nice wedding attire.
Yep. Yeah. That outfit. Move real quick, Mike.
Sorry.
For those at home on YouTube watching, boom, this nice green outfit.
Yeah. So she arrives at the wedding and she's, kind of playing the part.
Yep.
So she goes to visit her sister, outside of her sister's room, or like the whatever, I guess the bridal suite or whatever.
Yeah.
There's a security guard with a firearm,
With a gun. Yeah.
which is weird in London, I guess.
Yeah, I think
big in
even
London.
cops don't have guns
Yeah,
in
yeah,
London.
but- all right.
Soft cops.
Come on. Stop creating an international issue. And so Ria
Boy,
goes.
what's this all that? I'm like, all right, come on, you got a stick. Get out of my face.
Ria goes into the room, and the sisters are like kind of apologize to one another. I think, and once again, the movie established that they are very good sisters. It's like siblings fight. It's,
exactly.
It's not an end all be all type of thing.
Yeah.
And so like they kind of apologize to one another, and Lena says, "I'm sorry that I said that you wouldn't be a stunt woman. Obviously, I don't believe that." And Ria, apologizes for like her overactive imagination and not supporting her.
Yeah.
And then she mentioned, the Mama Khan and Fatma come in to see the bride or whatever, and Ria kind of backs out as saying, "Oh, I need to go practice my dance." She's going to be dancing during the ceremony at some point, so she needs to go practice. But instead of practicing, she goes and performs at the dance that's happening before the wedding ceremony. And what's her name? Mama Shah finds out, and she's like, she's not supposed to be dancing. So they leave. The two moms leave Lena by herself with just a security guard outside the door. And this is when Clara and Alba and Kovacs arrive. Yeah. And Clara and Alba are dressed as waiters for the wedding, and they sneak up with a cart to the bridal suite, and this is where Alba just once again thinking on her feet. Love it.
She's having her period. Yeah, lady problem. Lady
and it's
issues.
like that's interesting what you said about how Salim responded and how the security guard is just
the
like,
security guard
right,
and the other one, because the guy, like the head waiter, is like, "Oh, what do you mean? You're not supposed to bring tea." Like, "Oh, lady issues." He's like, "Oh, get out of here, gross." And like same with the guard, and like it's such like Anyway,
and so the Clara and Alba enter the bridal suite. They chloroform Lena. I mean, it takes way too long. Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, she's dead."
That's why. So that was what I want to bring up. So I don't remember if a podcast, a video recently, or like they were like common myths in movies. Chloroform does not knock people out instantaneously. It takes like a couple minutes. So when it had that on the screen, I was like, I appreciated that because I was like, oh, that's real, because chloroform doesn't just and you're out. No, it takes a long time.
So you hear what he says? Screw you, community.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so they chloroform her, they hide her in the cart, and then they take her downstairs. And as they take her, as Clara and Alba take Lena in the cart, passed out downstairs, Mama Shah and Fatima leave the dance that Ria was doing, which is really cool.
Yeah, it was really cool dance.
It's interesting to see. But they leave.
Well, you can't have a movie like this and not have a dance number.
So they return to the bridal suite. She's gone, and the security guard was like, "I didn't let anybody in except for the tea that you ordered or whatever." And she's like, "What tea?" Yeah. And then so Ria, arrives, and she's like, where is? I don't know. Or she maybe went out for a smoke, really kind of playing dumb. And so Ria's mom leaves. Yeah. And Mama Shah closes and locks the door. She was like, "Do you think I'm dumb?" Yeah. And then this is where we get Khan versus Shah. Yeah. It was very intense. It was interesting because of the fact that obviously Mama Shah is a little bit older, so I wasn't sure like how well her fight choreography was going to be. But yeah, she just
and again Ria gets her ass beat.
I'm just once again, if she's going to be the type of stunt person that just gets their ass kicked, top notch, long career.
Exactly. That's important. That's an important skill. You can't always be dishing out the punches. You got to take them.
And so, but Ria does not give up her sister, her sister's location, but not sadly, but during the fight with her and Mama Khan, her friends can hear her suffering.
Or Mama Shah, but
her Ria's friends can hear her suffering through the mic, so they return.
Because Mama Shah was like, either bring her back or Ria's gonna die. She was like,
and it was like, once again, this was the over the topness of it, where it was just like, what are. Stick to the rules you set.
Like, because you had another huge fight like this, and everything was fine. So no, this fight was real, and you're like, wait, but anyway.
And so the friends bring back Lena, and immediately they take Lena to go to the wedding ceremony. Yeah. And it's because I think like you said, the chloroform only lasts 6 minutes. Yeah. It's been way past that. she's coming to, but she's still a little groggy.
Mm-hmm. So she sees Ria like tied to the chair and everything on the way out.
But they take her out, get her ready for the wedding ceremony, and they lock Ria and her friends in the bridal suite. Mm-hmm. And Lena's at the wedding now. She's at the, she gets carried in, and then she's at the altar, and she's kind of like, her head's really fuzzy. She sees glimpses of her on an operating table, Ria tied up, and then she's about to sign. But as this is going on at the wedding ceremony, Kovac attacks the security guard that was outside the door
the fuck out of
with a fucking
fire extinguisher.
Breaks the door down. Ria takes his gun, enters the wedding ceremony, and fires off a few shots in the air. And says, "I have to stop the wedding." And this is where, once again, it's frustrating because of the fact that it was like, what's real and what's not. But you do get one of the best part of Ria's performance is her finally admitting to why she's been acting so wild. And it is just, like you said, it was just like Lena and Ria were each other's support system. They were the ones that supported each other's dreams. So seeing Lena give up on being an artist, Ria's like, well, what does that mean for me? Because of the fact that if the person that I admire is giving up on their dreams, does that mean that I can't complete mine?
Yes.
And then also it is that losing your best friend to someone else, and then not only just losing them physically, but like losing them physically, whereas like you're not as close anymore. But she's also leaving to Singapore. So,
so during the fight of Shaw versus Khan, Shaw also reveals that she is batshit psycho crazy, and the reason why Lena is an ideal host is so that way they can clone Mama Shaw and put her inside Ria to be born, so that Mama Shaw can have another chance at life. Because so you have this whole interaction where Mama Shaw is she's like, oh, you women today have it so easy. You get to follow your dreams and chase your dreams. I could never do that, which is very real in like that culture and community. It's like, it's very much like there was these expectations, and like now that stuff's like opening up and getting a little looser, like
more progressive.
It's more progressive. Yeah, things that are actually more progressive, people can like follow their dreams a little more. So there is some animosity from the older generation towards the younger generation about that. Great. So then like, this clone that they're making, which also makes no sense. And so, like,
once again, you establish that this world is the real world.
Exactly.
So now you're bringing in cloning. Like, what the fuck? What
are you going to like transport her brain into that clone baby's brain? Is you just going to say this is a clone?
Because, like you said, I think all this could have been a metaphor if it was just like you see Salim and his mom as the villains because they are taking away someone important to you.
Exactly.
Fine.
Yeah.
And then also you see this whole cloning thing. We're just like, no, I think Mama Shaw just wants a second chance of life, so she gets a grandbaby.
She gets a grandchild.
So it's all, like you said, it's all metaphors. It's all, like whatever. But it was just like setting it, making all these things in Ria's head real.
Yes.
Takes away from all of this that you established in the first two acts.
Yes.
And it was like, that's what was frustrating, because it was like, are you fucking serious?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, what are we doing? Because again, that'd be a great metaphor of just, Mama Shaw being like, oh, she just really wants a grandchild now because Salim is 32. He's getting up there in age, which not really, but but like as seen by his mother, that he's getting up there in age, she wants a grandbaby. So that's the pressure being felt, But no, we have to make this a legitimate, a crazy cloning psycho thing, which makes no sense after everything we've just put in here.
So it's just like, so Ria admits to, her, like, why she's been going a little bit wild.
Yeah.
And then you do see, like, so she loses the gun. Yeah. And Mama Shaw gets it and points it at her and just like, continue with the wedding ceremony. We need, on some villain shit, we need that host.
Which is like, what? Yeah.
And then Fatima, protecting her daughters, hits Mama Shaw with a chair. The gun goes loose. Salim goes, "Mommy!"
Yeah.
And
runs over.
He runs to his mother, and then Fatima tells her girls to run.
Yeah.
And so you get, and this was weird as shit. So then Mama Shaw goes, tells her, bring me Lena, basically. And so the wedding fucking party turns into a bunch of henchmen.
Exactly. So like every guest at this wedding is a henchman now. Every single guest. So you're telling me.
Once again, it got dumb.
It got dumb. And this is why I said, like, once all this started happening, I kind of started checking out because I was just like, I was just very disappointed from it because it got really dumb.
Yeah, so, I know. Yeah. The sisters run away. So the mom and the dad start fighting people. It was I think it was funny.
Yeah.
Like the fight scenes and stuff like that.
When you get the dad trying like the weird like crane style.
kick.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay. But like.
And then so Clara, Kovacs, and Alba, they hold the door for the sister to get away. And then you see kind of them, like, I love you guys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The sisters escape and they try to go to Kovac's car, but Mama Shah is beating them there.
Yeah.
So Salim takes Lena, and then you get another Khan versus Shah fight.
I am the Fury.
And then finally, after all this time, Ria finally completes the double spin kick.
Yeah.
Knocks out Mama Shah.
Yeah.
Salim obviously being a mama's boy, like lets go of Lena enough to try to go help his mom.
Lena beats the
crap out of him, saying like you experimented on me and like stuff like that. And then so they drive off.
Yep. Yeah.
And then you get another sweet moment with the sisters as they're driving away. So she was just like, one, thanking her for getting her out. Or like, Alena's thanking Ria for getting out of it. But she goes, so what was your plan? After? And she was just like, well, we bought you a bunch of food and we were going to go up to Alba's like summer home or something.
I had a bunch of easels and paint. And acrylic. I know you love acrylic, so you're going to be able to paint. It'll be great. Yeah.
And then so Lena says something like, he was like, I think I'm going to take some time. And I think that's what was interesting too, because of the fact that it was like, I think in Ria's mind, obviously, you don't know what's going on up there. But it was very much, Salim was an obstruction to Lena's dreams. But even without all of that, obviously they've escaped that family. And she was just like, I still don't know if I want to paint.
Yeah, but who cares? Every shit was evil now. I don't care. None of this matters.
And so they go to get something to eat first, and then they go to film the double spin kick for Ria's YouTube channel.
Yep.
And then right before they film it, Ria gets an email from Eunice saying, it was like, I saw your videos, don't give up on being a stunt woman.
Yeah. I think you could really be the best.
Yeah.
So I was busy doing a Marvel. And I'm like...
And then she says, come see me next week, we'll go to brunch.
We'll get brunch, yeah.
And then the final scene is Lena recording Ria say, I am the Fury, and then she does the spin kick.
Yeah.
And then,
Credits.
But it was just like, that ending seemed like you could have told such a compelling story about how people react to just change.
Yeah. And I recognize I could be a little harsh on my third act with it, but because it still is a lot of it's like a pretty good movie. But like, I just was so enjoying it, and I was so enjoying this journey, and I was so enjoying what they were doing with it, so that it literally just kind of felt like I got slapped in the face.
Because it's like, I mean, I think it's not the first time that a movie has like changed. Shift genres, right? Mid-film or something like that.
Exactly.
Right? Look at your Get Outs, right?
Yeah.
It went from just your regular, not rom-com, but like a kind of a thriller to some sci-fi shit.
Yeah.
But I think they transitioned fairly.
They did that much better.
With this one, was just like, what?
Yeah. What? Where's what? Like, come on. Yeah.
Yeah. So end of the movie.
And that's the end of the movie. So what we always like to... So first off, thank you so much for listening. What we always like to do at the end of the movie is review our original review. So Mike, did anything change for you after going through everything?
No. I think solid, very fun movie. I think the characters are great. The story was... I think they established great things in the beginning, which, like we obviously just said, it was a little bit disappointing seeing how it played out, but it didn't tarnish the entire film. So I will say 3. I did, definitely watch it. It was a lot of fun. The actors, the actress was great. But yeah, I think I would. Once again, I've never written a film.
Fair, yeah.
So it's just like I can't speak to that. But it was like I would have handled the ending a little bit differently based on what was given in the first 2 acts. Yeah.
Hindsight's 20, and it's 100% hindsight's 20/20. So it's very easy for me to sit over here and be like, rah, 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 rah. But
yeah,
I was
Charlie Brown's teacher.
Yeah, exactly. But same with me. I can't give a definitive. I'm good 3 or maybe even a 2.5, just because honestly, reliving the third act is kind of bugging me again. But again, I will say it's very easy to sit over here and make that comment after the movie's been made. it was a solid movie, and I'm excited to see what everyone involved is going to be doing next, and I plan on watching everyone else from here too. So 2.5 or 3 just because of the ending, but I still think it's worth seeing for sure. So thank you again so much for listening. If you'd like to reach out to us, we are at 2meddlingkids at gmail.com, at 2meddlingkids on Instagram and Twitter. So please, we would love to hear from you. If you have any ideas about movies you want us to see or review, or you want to like yell at us for reviews of this movie, that's totally fine too. We'll take it. Yeah, Mike, how can they reach out to you?
On Instagram at Days from Legendary.
Beautiful. And you can reach out to me at edhunt77 on Twitter and Instagram. Thanks again, everybody. We'll see you soon. Gotcha.
Bye.